Welcome to Harcourt Hub.
Welcome to episode 11 of Harcourt Hub. I'm Jamelie.
And I'm Claire. This is a special episode because it's Jamelie's last week at Harcourt House and on the podcast.
Bye!
On this episode of the podcast, we sat down with Leslie Bush, leader of Harcourt House's art bike tours and one of the main brains behind a few other projects, such as the Edmonton Tool Library and the Secret Alley Gallery.
Here's Les to tell us more.
My name is Leslie Bush, and I used to work for the Edmonton Bike Commuters, and I know Stacey Can, who is the current and soon-to-be not executive director of Harcourt House, who introduced me to the idea, or suggested the idea of the gallery bike tour, and we worked together in 2015 to do them, and it was pretty good, and 2016 has been even better. I grew up making art. I'm a painter, I was a sculptor, done a lot of drawing, and because I'm not a professional artist, I wanted to keep a connection to the community, so part of that was working with people in the community to help them promote local art, local artists. I've worked with the Edmonton Arts Council on some projects, so I'm very interested in seeing our more grassroots art be a focus in the city, and I think a lot of people don't realize what great cultural capital we have in Edmonton, especially when it comes to visual arts, and not just visual arts, but also performing arts. So this whole gallery art tour was a great way to introduce people to galleries and art they've maybe never seen before or never had an opportunity to check out. And it's just right for the amount of time that we spend at each gallery on a bike tour to make this all really interesting for people and keep them interested and involved.
So you are the leader of the art bike tour, and the next one's coming up on August 20th. And you also organized a larger one for the Edmonton bicycle commuters, right?
Yeah, in 2015 we did the public art ride. The reason we didn't do one this year is because of all of the path and road closures and the fact that the high level bridge is basically not the most comfortable place to ride anymore. The public art tour we did in conjunction with the Edmonton Arts Council, because they steward and maintain all of the public art. So they helped us come up with the route. They have actually a really great repository online, an interactive map that points out all the different pieces that they know of in the city, and they're still looking for people to tell them about pieces they don't know about. But yeah, the bike tour came about because we had one of the people I worked with at EBC, Edmonton Bicycle Commuters, she has a very strong, proclivity for public art. And she just threw this out on Facebook, and it got a ton of interest to the point where we said, well, there's 100 people signed up already and 300 people interested. We should maybe organize this. Met with the Edmonton Arts Council, found out about all these great resources, found out about all the public art that's out there in the city, and then just organized a route that looked like it would work for people. And it did. We had, I think, 120 some people show up at various times of the ride, and overall we had a group between 60 and 80 people for the whole thing. Our one downfall was we made it a bit too long, but this year we had planned on doing two separate routes, a north and a south. Like I said, the pathway closures and road closures and construction has made it really difficult this year, so we said we'll just wait until next year. But anybody who's interested in doing it, just go to I think it's edmontonarts.ca is their website, if I'm not mistaken. And they have that online map that tells you where all the public art is if you want to take a look on your own. It's a really great resource.
Why do you like leading the tours?
It's a nice way to connect with people. I really enjoy getting the chance to see these galleries, meet the people that run the galleries, see what I don't always have the motivation to get out and see art myself, so this is a great experience for me too. I get to get off my couch, ride my bike around, check out some of these newer or different galleries. They're constantly rotating shows, so I always see something new, which is really exciting for me. Plus taking people out on their bikes and showing them that this is a really accessible way to get around town, a great way to take an afternoon out. Nice relaxing ride from gallery to gallery makes it sort of an all-day event.
So what's your favorite public artwork in the city, and why?
I like some of the stuff at Borden Park. Willow stands out a lot, but it's one of the newer ones. I'm really a fan of I can't remember the name of it, but right by the LRT station at Kingsway, it's supposed to be mountains and trees. I think a lot of people have never seen it. Everyone's looking quizzically. It's right on the corner of the just off by the transit center, and it's sort of hidden by some bushes and behind a fence. It should have been a lot more prevalent, but as it turns out, it's a neat little hidden piece of public art. Yeah, green. It's blue and white mostly, the mountain. It's supposed to be evocative of mountains and trees. I've seen the original maquette at EAC, and it was supposed to be a lot bigger initially. They dialed it back for this because the size of the site wasn't correct, or wasn't adequate for that, but I still think it's a really, really awesome little piece. And then I think my all-time favorite, which isn't officially public art, would be the 95th Street bike lane by the LRT, where the LRT goes underground. On the bike path there's the only legal graffiti wall in Edmonton, and there's constantly turnover of new pieces, and it's really high quality stuff. It's not just the tags and the junk that you see in alleyways. It's really, really high quality. People go out there and spend a whole day working on a piece, so I really appreciate seeing it. Just cruising by, it's really nice.
So you are also one of the people behind the Secret Alley Gallery, which is a gallery that will open for just one day on August 27th in a hidden downtown alleyway. What gave you the idea for that?
The Secret Alley Gallery, I got dragged kicking and screaming. Well, I volunteered to be a part of it. A couple of friends of mine live in the Fox Tower, and that's the actual legal fire escape on that side of the building. They had to maintain this alleyway. So they thought, what a waste of space. It's going to be empty forever. The condo board there started asking questions like, can we board up the alleyway? Can we somehow keep people from going in it? And their position, and mine too, was, why would you want to do that? It seems like a really decent little space, even as a cut through between the two blocks. It's better for people. It's better for the streetscape to have something in there. So when they suggested doing a temporary installation, which we hope motivates someone to make it more permanent, I was all over it. Again, it's a great way for people to see art, but also see the city, take a look at some places that you might normally overlook or think, that's kind of gross, I don't want that around, but show people there's a space for everything and everyone in the city. It doesn't always have to be some grand commercial venture. It can be just a quick little pop-up. We're doing it all like on a shoestring budget, volunteerism, tons of support from the community though, the building itself. We had a paint sponsor. We have a bunch of financial sponsors who really feel strongly that this is a good idea, and we're hoping that someone else picks it up and runs with it for another one. We'd love to see these pop up all over town.
So why the theme Eyes on the Street?
It was an easy one to go for the first time. The Jane Jacobs Eyes on the Street philosophy, that when you have more people out and active and engaged in their community and literally eyes on the street, it becomes a safer space for everyone. There's less worry about crime. There's probably less incidents of crime. But it's just really a genuine feeling I have about a city, that when there's people on the street, I feel like it's a better place to be. And that's what I'd like to see more of.
What's special about putting art outside of a conventional white-walled gallery?
Well, there's two sides to it. Sometimes people, I think, are a little bit overwhelmed, or maybe they're intimidated by formal art. Everyone says things to me like, well, I don't understand it, I don't really get it. And I tell them, you don't have to get it. If you enjoy it, then you're getting it. That's it. And if you don't enjoy it, that doesn't mean you're not getting it. It might just not be to your taste. So when you start putting public art out there and making people experience it, it does build that cultural capital where they get a little more interested in, hopefully, in art. And the second part is creating that intrigue. Cities are interesting, but cities are more interesting when there's little spaces you can duck into, when there's that feeling of wonder. You'll see things around the city, those little mosaic tile installations that go up randomly. Some people would call them vandalism. I call them public art. I really love when people just see stuff and they can connect with it a little bit, and it becomes part of the fabric of the city and the community. Once again, it's about bringing people some sort of touchstone where they can get together and make the community a better place by talking, by interacting, or just by being outside or in a space that's maybe underused, underappreciated. And the art too, it's really important for people to connect with that, I think, from a cultural standpoint, and just makes the city a better place.
So what reaction do you hope to see to the Secret Alley Gallery?
The Secret Alley Gallery, the grand dream would be that the building chooses to install it permanently, keep some way of having art up there. A couple of secondary goals would be other people would copycat it, or would just do it themselves. and that would be fantastic. The more art that's up and out there, the better, and the more spaces that we stop ignoring, the better. And there's a couple other ideas that have come out of it, maybe starting a collective around sort of pop-up art in the city, although I'm pretty sure those already exist. And this is just, it's getting the media attention, and that's also important because now we can start talking to them about, hey, check out all these other galleries, look at all these other cool things that are going on. It's not just the 20 pictures that we're going to put up, it's the 20,000 that you can find at places like Harcourt House, Carfax, the Nina, any of the galleries that we visit on the bike tour, even the outdoor art that's just free for everyone if you just take the time to look.
Do you have a decent amount of submissions for the gallery?
Put them all together last night. I think we had about 220 submissions. Of course, we have to go through them and adjudicate, but there's such variety. It's so amazing. We got everything from professional artists who have been working in the field for years to complete amateurs who've submitted things. And I'm hoping tonight or tomorrow we'll have everything decided and we'll know which art is going up, but then everyone's going to have to come down and see it on the 27th.
How would you like to see Edmonton's art scene evolve or grow? Or what are some of the current issues?
If I was thinking about current issues, I think the first one's always funding. Art is important enough that it should be looked at as a career, as a job, as employment, and not just something that we say we're doing this for the arts or for culture. We're doing this for people. People deserve to also be able to connect with other people in that way. Art's a really unique way of, I guess, addressing people. When I said before that I think people find it a little bit intimidating, it's because they think there is always a secret message that's hidden for other people in there that maybe they don't understand. Whereas I say the accessibility of art is look at it, enjoy it, and if you feel like there's something there pulling you in, focus more on it. Doing events like this brings that discussion up to the forefront where people say, well, why do you do it? Why do you do it if it's not for money and if it's not for your career? Well, we do it because we want to see the community get better, and the community gets better when there's these threads of culture that you can, I don't know if you can attach yourself to, but you can follow through your life, and you can see how other people have gotten where they are, and you can see where other people are going just by looking or experiencing their art, which is generally something they're putting out there, again, out of the goodness of their heart. So the first issue, obviously, as I said, is funding. I'd love to see artists be able to work as artists without having to worry about so much about money or where they're going to do it or where they're going to put up their art. Another reason why secret alley galleries are great, because people can just make them themselves and put up their art. The second thing would be having a venue for it and actually getting people to understand that art is about people and it's about community. It's not just somebody trying to make a political statement always. Sometimes it's just enjoying yourself and making some, or putting together an exhibit, an exhibition, or even just a single piece that is, that touches somebody some way. Again, cultural capital is important to me. I think that the more people understand it, the better it is for everyone. The more respect we have for the public art, the private art, and the easier it is for us to really build an inclusive and connected sort of community, not just always with art, but around art or with art as a major piece of it.
So what is unique about Edmonton's art scene?
Unique? The more I look into it, the more I realize there's a definite Western Canadian feeling to a lot of our art that you don't get elsewhere. I'm not an expert enough to unpack all of it, but I have noticed that the styles that we see here in the subject matter are often quite specific to Western Canada, and the ones that aren't always seem to be touched by the Western Canadian culture. So even when we see artists from away that come here and work, often it seems to impact them and affect them. I think the thing I like most about Edmonton's art scene is that there is so much space for different levels. There's the professional, the highly professional, career artists. There's people who come in and out of the art scene and do their projects, and maybe just one project or two projects. There's people coming out of school. I mean, there just seems to be so much interest, and there's a real passion for it out here. And that's what I think is unique about it. And the fact that you can see it in so many places, so many small galleries that people never actually know about, that I really want to see them flourish, because it's cool to go to a place like Latitude or Harcourt and see, you know, an 8 to 10 piece collection and that you can focus on, rather than going to, you know, the Louvre. I've heard you can't get through in a day. Some of the bigger galleries, and even in Ottawa, where I lived for a bit, the National Gallery is just too big and too imposing for you to really connect with the art. You can walk through and see it, but you can't, unless you're focused on it, you're not going to get as much out of it, I think. So I love the small gallery, and the fact that Edmonton's still that small town feel where anyone can say, hey, I want to do an art show, and you probably know somebody who owns a gallery that would be happy to put it on. I just want to remind everyone, Secret Alley Gallery on the 27th from 1 to 8 in the alleyway between the Fox condominium on 104th Street and the Revion parking garage right next to it. And then on the 20th, of course, the Harcourt House Edmonton Bike Commuters Art, what are we calling it? The Art Bike Gallery Tour? The Art Bike Tour? Art Bike Tour, thank you. Yeah, and that goes at 2 o'clock. I think we're meeting at the 9. Yeah, looking forward to that too. It's going to be a good time.
All right, thank you.